Dear friends in the Dhamma, this short Dhamma talk is titled the Siddharta Road. The Buddha's teaching was called the Dharma, but Dharma means more than that. Dharma is the law of righteousness. Sanatana Dharma means the eternal Dharma, which will never die, but humanity can and will die if we cannot find the Dharma or righteousness in our lives. Following the Dharma leads to peace, happiness, liberation, and harmony in human society. The Dharma is sometimes also summarized with the Four Noble Truths, which is suffering, the cause of suffering, end of suffering, and the path leading to the end of suffering. Meaning all suffering starts with craving or clinging. In order to get rid of suffering, you have to let go of attachments. Let go and free your mind. I also make a strong distinction between Buddhism as a religion and Dhammism, the deeper part of the Buddha's teaching. Dharma is the actual practice of leading a good spiritual life with morality and meditation, leading ultimately to the stages of awakening or enlightenment. People are on different levels of spiritual development. While some are satisfied with the mystical literal stories of the Buddha's personal life and with doing pujas and ceremonies, others move one step further, trying to actually practice the deeper parts of Buddhism, like sila, meditation, living a good spiritual life. On an even higher level, there are the real meditators, the yogis, whose only concern is the spiritual development and awakening process. These levels are generally called mystic, rational, modern, and integral stages of spiritual growing up. The Dharma has the quality of come and see, find out for yourself, ehi passiko, no blind belief involved. In Western society, about 50% are identifying with the phrase spiritual but not religious, meaning they are fed up with just believing, especially in mystical fairy tale stories. They want to know, they want to see for themselves. According to Albert Einstein, the religion of the future will be a cosmic religion, a religion which is based on experience, which refuses dogmatic beliefs. And he said, if there's any religion that would cope with the scientific needs of modern-day society, it would be Buddhism or the deeper parts of Dharma. There are many diseases and sicknesses in our world, but according to the Buddha, one sickness stands out as the biggest sickness of them all. There is no fire like passion, no crime like hatred, no sorrow like separation, no sickness like ignorance, and no joy like the joy of freedom, of liberating one's mind from ignorance and craving. So the biggest sickness is ignorance, not knowing. And the best story showing ignorance is of course the story of Devadatta, the Buddha's very own cousin, who grew up together with him, who was about the same age, and later ordained as a monk under the Buddha. But because he saw in the Buddha a friend and not a teacher, he constantly demanded things from the Buddha, like hand me over the Sangha, give me more responsibility, make me the teacher. After refusing all this, he got really angry with the Buddha. So much so that one day he even tried to kill the Buddha, collecting lots of demerit for himself and missing the chance to become enlightened. So we are living in an illusion, a dream-like state, the matrix, which the Buddha called Mahamaya. This illusory dream-like existence is the veil pulled over our eyes to blind us from the truth. What truth? The truth that we are slaves, bound by the five senses of craving, aversion, and ignorance. We are pure consciousness having a human experience, and not the other way around. Unfortunately, nobody can be told what the matrix is. We have to see for ourselves. The Buddha said, I can only show you the way, but everybody has to experience it for him or herself. So this reality is not real. But what is real? How do we define real? Is real what we can touch, taste and smell? According to quantum physics, everything is made out of atoms, which when analyzed show that they are 99.99% empty space. And not only that, it gets even better. Not only empty space, but non-physical. Atoms consist of pure energy, energy in wave forms, like electricity. And only if we observe or decode this information in wave form, it becomes a thing. So without consciousness, atoms and our whole reality remains just energy in wave form. So reality is actually an illusion. Through meditation we can see things as they are. We can experience reality for ourselves. There is really no other way to find out about reality. The stadium on which it all plays out is the human mind. Our mind is bombarded with millions of impulses, second by second, creating this false reality all around us. Therefore the solution is also in the mind. The solution, the medicine, is meditation. Enlightenment is nothing we have to find. It is simply this realization of reality. We are divine. The Buddha nature is within us. Just remove the barriers, the obstacles, and let freedom shine through. Like removing the clouds, and the sun can shine through unhindered. But the sun was always there. It was just blocked by clouds. Liberation can only be gained by practice, never by mere discussions. Only through meditation one can learn how to free the mind of all the tensions and prejudices that disturb the flow of daily life. By going deeper into meditation, one discovers how to live each moment peacefully, productively and happy, and one progresses towards liberation. Shortly before the Buddha's parinirvana, that is his passing away, all the monks were standing around him, some were weeping. But there was one monk called Dhammadinna who used the time for meditation, thinking this is what the Buddha actually wants from me. Later this particular monk was highly praised by the Buddha for his understanding. What the Buddha and all the Buddhas before wanted from us was to realize the Dharma. Direct experience of reality is essential, from superficial, apparent, gross reality to subtler and subtler realities, up to the subtlest reality of mind and matter. The path of Dharma is very simple, but we are complicated. Our minds have become too complicated for meditation. We are very complicated beings. The Buddha says, this is all I teach you, now as in the past. Suffering and the cessation of suffering. That's it. That's in short all the Buddha was teaching, and all there is to understand. Samsara is another word for entanglement. We are reborn again and again. Each time we come here to get entangled in worldly activities, education, job, marriage, family, enjoyments, passion, old age, and on it goes. Perhaps in this life we can do something different, something extraordinary, something special. Everyone knows that the universe is constantly changing, but only intellectual understanding of this reality will not help. One must experience it within oneself through Vipassana meditation. A rebel does not believe in anything except his own experience. The Buddha was such a rebel, who went against the current, who showed the path to liberation. So all we have to do is follow his path towards enlightenment. A rebel has no belief system. He just follows his experiences. According to Wikipedia, religion means the belief and worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or gods, a particular system of faith and worship. So according to that, Buddhism is not a religion. It is a philosophy of life, a system of spiritual growth. Nowadays in Buddhism we get different groups like Mahayana, Theravada, Vajrayana, Zen, Shaolin, and so on. But all these groups have the Buddha as their founder. All of them practice Dharma, and all of them want to progress in meditation and awaken their consciousness. What all of them call Nirvana or enlightenment. So I do not make any distinction between all these groups. Also, I am mainly attracted to Theravada Buddhism. We should rather see what we have in common and try to be an ideal Sangha, a group of enlightened people, advanced in Dharma practice, acting together for the benefit of the world. All these Sanghas form a matrix where there are groups within groups to create a country without a territory, a network of same-minded people. The most important thing above all is the practice. We have to conquer our own emotions and free the mind. Plato said once, "For a man to conquer himself is the first and noblest of all victories." And Aristotle said, "All men by nature desire knowledge." Yes, we want knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. But many people find it more satisfactory to submit to external forms of control. They just follow Big Daddy. It's so much easier than to face the journey on the Siddharta Road towards liberation and full selfhood. Taking out the car from the garage means sometimes accidents and problems. But without that, you will also not arrive anywhere. So, similar also in meditation, we have to try it in order to progress, even if it might be difficult sometimes. Society will change indirectly with the higher level of awareness. Whenever a society advances to a higher spiritual level, they also demand more worldly freedom. They will automatically improve on their society. But in any case, we have to start at the mind, the spiritual level. Otherwise, even paradise will mean nothing to those people. The most perfect place would be just be messed up by these people, by these unenlightened folks. So liberate yourself, know thyself, find out about your mind. Free your mind from all the limitations. Be free. Many things in Buddhism have changed over the millennia. But there's one thing, one old formula, which is used when a monk or a nun ordains into the Buddhist order. And that formula has not changed since the time of the Buddha. The formula starts with Sabba Dukkha Nissarana Nibbana, meaning for the end of suffering, for overcoming of all desires, for freeing my mind, and attaining to full liberation and enlightenment. I ordain as a monk or as a nun. So this then is the very essence of the Buddhist teachings, the Dharma, meant for overcoming suffering, for purifying and freeing our mind, for attainment of nirvana and enlightenment. So I hope that there were a few points in this short Dharma talk which will be helpful for you. Just remember that practice is the most important part of Buddhism, and without meditation there is no spiritual progress. So may you all be well and happy, find peace and happiness, free your mind in your meditation, and attain higher stages of spiritual growing up and higher stages of spiritual awakening. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sabityo vivaccantu sabbarogo vinassatu mame bhavatvantarayo sukidikayuko bhava apivadana silissa niccang vattapacayino cattaro dhamma vadanti ayuvanna sukhang balang ayurarogya sambatti sakka sambatti mivaca Atto nibbana sambatti iminade samiccato. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.